Night live, what are we up to?
17 or 16.
16, let's call it 16. So Warren from NQ Explorers here. How are you,
Ben?
Warren?
Good, Ben. How are you? Good?
Yes, I'm very good. It's been a big week this week, so we've had lots of interest in this.
Oh, the Ace 200
The giveaway tonight. So
Yep.
yeah, lots and lots of interest in that. So very, very exciting that.
Yep.
And we're here to talk about gold, lots and lots of gold. So we've actually, funnily enough, when I say lots and lots of gold, we've actually only got one little piece of
You've
gold.
only got one piece of gold here. We're not
Yeah.
very good at it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we get going.
yeah.
No, we've got a lot to get through here, actually. It's good.
Yeah. Warren and I have chatted about this, and we actually think we probably have to split it into 2 weeks. And we're going to do, this week is sort of where to look.
Yep.
Next week is
How to look.
how to do it. So
So you're panning and sluicing and detecting
all that stuff. So
and divining.
divining, yes, we've got our resident expert with
I'm not
divining.
but I know a bit about it. 2 bits of wire are a lot cheaper than a metal detector.
They are.
You
But,
find them out there on the fence lines.
Yeah. Yes. We find a lot of
A lot
them.
of wire. Yeah, you don't need a
Metal
metal
detecting.
detector.
Yeah. But so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I'm trying not to knock this detector over if anyone's wondering what I'm doing here. So yes. So not too late to enter to win the Ace. Here it is. Here's a boxed up one. Less chance of knocking that over. Not too late to enter. All you need to do is share this post with as many people, as many pages, as many times as you possibly can. They count as entries, and we'll
Draw it at the end of the...
we'll draw it we'll draw it at 8:30 because we may not be quite finished at 8:30.
Yeah.
At 8:30,
No.
so it may go an hour and 10 minutes tonight, but we'll draw it at 8:30 so everyone knows what the deal is.
Yep.
So
Sounds good.
so yeah, that's the Ace there. So I suppose we will start talking about
Where to look for gold.
where to look for gold, and
From a new chum's perspective.
yes, from a
Or
new
for anyone's perspective.
from anyone's perspective. So so what we've got up here is I've just got a little map there of some of my waypoints up the east coast of Australia. Well, that's just Queensland, from the Gold Coast to, I don't know, Rocky,
So
maybe
these are
Townsville.
gazetted gold mines.
They're gold mines.
Yeah. From the 1800s onwards.
Yeah, from the 1800s on. So there is thousands and thousands of gold mines, and while most of these gold mines aren't active now, a lot of them are historically been good, but aren't any good for commercial
Not
stuff
commercially.
now. No.
Well, the old timers, especially in the remote areas, and just looking at that there, somewhere up there,
Yep.
look how much of that Great Dividing Range, look how much gold's come off the Great Dividing Range.
Absolutely.
And that goes all the way down to Victoria, it keeps going.
Yeah. That's what the East Coast looks like.
Now,
So,
the thing is with the old timers in the remote areas, especially North Queensland, if they weren't getting an ounce a tonne, they wouldn't mine the ground.
yeah.
Because of the transport costs.
Yeah.
So you've got a bullet drain, you've got a crushing battery who's charging them to crush their ore.
Yeah.
This is not, unless they're picking up alluvial nuggets and putting under their arm,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they did in some places.
Yeah.
But an ounce a tonne. Now these days we're talking about commercially a gram a tonne.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Like,
But, and for a weekend prospector, we're talking about
oh,
0.01 gram and you go home happy.
yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
that just shows you how much gold is still there, even in the areas where it's been heavily mined.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like from a weekend prospector's point of view, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like BHP Billiton's not going to open up a mine there.
Well, they're not interested.
No.
And that's the thing. A lot of these big commercial companies aren't interested in these little patches.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're getting 10 grams a day, we're
holy
stoked.
crap. It's a great day.
It's a great day.
It's
So
a point oh, move the decimal point.
yeah,
I'd still
a
be
gram
happy.
a day. Yeah.
But the thing, that's the point there, that all you think, all these old gold mines have been worked out, and we're all reading the same research books, like Gold and Ghosts and all those sort of guides that we all look at, all the old maps, the Robert Logan Jacks.
Yeah.
But don't forget, the old timers were looking for big gold. They couldn't couldn't see the little stuff.
Absolutely.
Or they had to pan or dry blow it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worth their while to spend 3 weeks to get an ounce of gold.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
right.
wouldn't do it. They'd be dead.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, you know, these days we've got access to these areas in most places. Everyone's got good four-wheel drives.
Yep.
Most of the tracks are pretty accessible.
Yep.
And there's plenty of scope there for weekend prospectors to find a bit of gold.
Absolutely. And then, so that's the sort of the waypoints that we've got. That there's a lot of waypoints out there. Now you can get that information from the mines department. You can download an overlay called QGlobe that goes on your Google Earth. You're best to get Google Earth Pro.
Yep.
And a lot of that, there's the Mines Globe that lays all these waypoints out. The downside of that, it doesn't give you a hell of a lot of information. If you've been lucky enough to buy a machine from me, we've got all those waypoints.
On
the US. Comes on a USB.
24-carat gold bar.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't be. It's not terribly. It's actually a USB stick. It's not. Before everyone wants a gold bar.
Yeah.
So it's all those waypoints. When you buy a gold machine off us, you get all those waypoints sort of thing. So, but all of that information is on the government sites, so you can look it up and look at your specific area and go, what's going on? And
then establish if you can access it, of course.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The other feature with that QGlobe is you can look at what's state
land tenures.
Yeah, exactly. What's freehold, what's state forest, what's national park.
Yeah.
So,
even if it's freehold, you can just knock on doors.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a lot of people on here tonight. I won't get through to saying hello to everyone, and I will get through all of your comments at a later date, maybe tonight or tomorrow. But we've got a lot here. Benny Reed's here. There's stacks of people. David, Troy, Richard, John, Anthony, Staxons, Curtis, Scott. Like, I could go on all night, and that would be a very boring show.
It would be.
Yeah. So we'll, yes, we've got people from all over the country too.
That's awesome.
South Australia, there's some people from Perth, Victoria, they're everywhere. So,
so if you guys interstate, we're talking, that was just a Queensland, every state mining department
exactly the
has
same.
a similar system.
Yeah.
I like the Telegraph system in WA, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a better system, I think, than
really
here.
Good.
So
WA is really well set up for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You got no doubt about who owns what where,
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So, So, that's the start to it.
Now, once you get to this point, when you get to the spot, what do you do? That's the question, I suppose.
Well,
where do you look?
So, there's a couple of different ways to approach that, isn't there? I like to, depending on how hard that area is to access it. Like if it's freehold property and the landowner says, oh yeah, okay, but no one's been on it before, you'd probably approach it very differently to if you rolled out to Durakai, the puddler at Durakai, and
where every man and his dog's been around.
Exactly. So in a heavily worked area, right, I would go to the area that the mines are. I'd look at the country, right, look at what sort of rock, and we've got a heap of rock samples here to show you, so we'll get to that in a minute, but I'd go to that area. And then I'd probably look to the edges and try and get away from it where everyone else goes and go to areas that the rock's very, very similar.
I would. That's what I was just going to say. Once you're in an area, there's two ways that I approach gold prospecting. You plan your day. You can either, one, work around the old mullock heaps, work around the old workings, and try your luck pinging a nugget or even some alluvial gold in areas that have been heavily worked. Or two, you read the country a little bit and you do a bit of raw prospecting in between the old timers' workings, like you said, around the periphery. Areas where the old timers couldn't see any value in the ground, but to us, you've got a way of looking at the ground with a metal detector that they didn't have.
Yeah, they had no idea.
And even if you went out there and you found, let's say you're in the bush for 3 weeks and you found 3 ounces, you'd be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely.
Old timer would be disgusted. He'd go home. That's not enough gold.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, he wouldn't pay his bullock for his tea and tobacco.
Yeah.
So it's all relative these days. But there's two ways I look at it. You either can work the old ground, and there's still gold to be had in the old mullock heaps. With the modern VLF machines, when you discriminate your iron, you're still going to get your lead and stuff, but you can get your gold that the old timers missed around the old crusher batteries and quartz heaps and stuff.
But I think in a heavy area, like somewhere like Durakai, That's just a few people have thought of that.
You reckon I'm not the first person?
You're not the first person.
Now, I take your point. Ground can be worked out. There's no doubt about that.
Well, particularly stuff like old machinery.
Yeah, old machinery sites where you've got only a couple of 100 square metres.
Yeah.
You can be pretty confident that the gold can, especially if it's shallow ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the like if all the modern detectors, because as they got better over the years from the 80s, they went deeper and more sensitive. Yeah. If it's an area of shallow bedrock that's been worked by metal detectors for 40 years, you'd be lucky to get a bit of gold in it.
Yeah.
You might,
like that section, there's a couple of sections you talk about at Claremont.
Yeah.
That are like that.
Yeah.
That are just...
They're just surfaced.
Yeah,
and there's nothing there. There's just nothing there.
Yeah.
You could get, it wouldn't matter how good your technology is, you're not going to...
Yeah.
Well, if you've got a dustpan and brush and you swept the cracks, you might get a couple of flakes.
Yeah.
But then below detectable size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing I like to do, and I'll just shrink us down so you can see the background here, but I like to go and have a look on Google Earth.
Yep.
And if you get the Q Globe, it gives you this sort of quality of image that you can zoom right in.
It's super high res,
right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this Q Globe, is it gives you that, you can virtually go and see, right, that looks like a good riffle there. Let's go and we'll just work that riffle.
And you can see where little tributaries come in, and you can, like you said, you can see if the country rock's laying perpendicular or with the flow of the creek.
Exactly,
and where to go.
Yeah.
Instead of just bumbling around in the bush.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a little bit informed.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll come back to that.
I've actually done that myself, and you could do a screen capture, print it out, and take it in your four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
You know, and you can line it up with your army map or whatever, or your HEMA navigator or whatever you're using.
Yeah. We'll come back to that image actually, because there's some interesting stuff on that image. So, the other way that I like to do is just once you get to know an area and you know an area what the gold looks like, you can then go 30 k's down the road, 40 k's down the road, if it's the same geology,
and look for similar country.
And I've had some success like that.
Exactly.
You know.
So that's a good point, because all the theories about where gold's deposited, which we'll go into shortly, apply. Doesn't matter if you're on Mars, the Moon, or the Earth. But if you and there's probably heaps of gold on the Moon.
What about Mars?
Oh, I don't know.
How much prospecting you done on Mars?
I haven't done much up there.
Have you?
I'm just trying to say that the laws of physics apply. So, but often you go to always talk to a local if you can, a local prospector. Who you can trust, which may not be that easy. But anyway, what I'm saying is you can actually go to local areas, in very small areas, and people say, oh yeah, but the gold in this area is only found in this kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whereas it's against the laws of what you'd normally expect to find gold.
Exactly.
Like they might say, oh, all the gold is in a false bottom, you're getting none on the bedrock. You've got to be looking for a certain sort of clay, grey clay or something. That's the only place you get gold here, and well, it's worth listening to that. Because if you're digging to the bottom and throwing all the clay over your shoulder, you're throwing all the gold away.
Exactly.
I'm talking about a rocker box here, or a cradle, or a sluice or something.
But even that information's good information for detecting, because you know that you're not looking for bedrock. So in country that's very, very deep and a long way to the rock bottom, if people are telling you it's sitting on the clay layer,
you won't walk away from the deep country.
Yeah, exactly. You'll do the deep country.
Because usually you go, oh, this stuff's too deep. Like I'm digging holes.
The detector can't reach that
Yeah, that's
far,
right. So. But the gold could be hung up in there, especially if there's thick clays.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of Queensland, like where you get those really thick, puggy clays.
Well, Warwick's like that. It's full of clay.
And the black soil country.
Yeah. So, yes. So, just for those late joiners, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers, and no, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. You're Warren from NQ Explorers. And we do this every Monday night, so please join us and come along. And we normally have a giveaway every night. But tonight we're giving away an Ace 200 machine, so a little Garrett machine there, for a random person who shares the post. So you can share it as many times as you like. They all count as entries, so plaster it everywhere. We're trying to get our viewership up a little. Great
little detector to start out with. It's just awesome if you're starting out, or if you're a hardcore metal detectorist. Great for the kids or the you know.
Yep. They shrink up really small too. So yeah.
It's not a kid's toy, but it's a very good quality machine.
Yeah. As an aside, I saw in the latest Garrett catalogue they're now doing a miniature shaft for the Aces.
I didn't see
for
that.
the kids.
Oh, really? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so a short version of the
short
aluminium
version
tube.
of the shaft.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I reckon it's a quality idea.
You want to? There's a couple of comments we could go
Yeah,
with
a couple of questions there. Yeah.
James said his comment is floods might show up good finds.
Absolutely. Well,
Definitely.
Particularly in those areas where where there's been good alluvial gold.
Yeah.
You get a flood come through.
Yeah.
Go back to all those spots you found gold before, and happy days.
And you'll get fine gold high up in the wash. Because if it's a really recent flood, it hasn't had time to get down deep in the creek bed.
Yeah. And let me just, while we're talking about that, let me just show you something on this image we were looking at there before. So if you can see the A in the arrow, at the top of that A in the arrow, you can see a fold where the outer edge of the creek when it's in flood is. And it's, let me just get up here so I can point to it. So it is, where is it? No, this way. That's that edge that's running through there, where my finger is. You can actually see like a
floodplain.
It's the floodplain, and you can see it on the inside edge as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So the actual inside edge and the outside edge are places to look in floods as well.
Yeah.
Those extreme areas, and normally the inside.
Yep.
Which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, that's sort of the creek you look at isn't the creek it is when it's in the flood.
That's right.
It's a completely different creek.
It's very difficult to get to a creek in flood, but it's awesome to see it.
Yeah.
Because then you can really see how that particular creek behaves, especially if you've got a spot like you said where you've been finding gold.
Yeah.
And you can go back. And I mean, North Queensland's just had that much rain. They've had 400 mils in 24 hours.
Yeah.
We did that video about finding gold at Jericho last year, and someone made a comment, "Oh, gold doesn't float down streams."
I'll tell you what.
When there's 400 mils of rain,
Yeah.
and there's boulders the size of cars getting rolled down those creeks,
Gold's
you can't tell me a 0.01 gram nugget's not floating too.
It's not sitting.
It doesn't matter how heavy it is, it's getting pushed along.
Yeah.
So it moves a lot of that. The tropical streams, especially in the V-shaped valleys where you've got massive volumes of water.
It must be incredible to see
It
that.
just scours it. And you can hear those big boulders coming, bouncing down the creek.
Yeah, that must be good to hear.
Unbelievable. Graham says thanks for the Pro Pointer.
Oh, good. Graham got his Pro Pointer. Graham won the Pro Pointer on last week's show. We gave away the new Technetics Pro Pointer.
Now Anthony says, how do you determine mineralisation?
Well, a magnet helps.
Yeah. Well, colour doesn't always indicate, but colour is a good indicator.
That's exactly right.
It can be, especially in some of the goldfields you see, especially up north where you get the big white ant hills.
Yep.
You get the runner grey ones, and then there'll be a distinct line where the red ones are. So you've got that texture zone where there's a contact zone.
Yep.
Where you've got really highly mineralised soil and moderately mineralised soil. You actually get some vegetation that only grows in that kind of environment.
So a bit further to that, so for instance, here's a magnet, right? And some of the ground that we're talking about is that magnetic, that the magnets just stick to it. Like on last week's show, like this is ironstone, it just sticks to the magnet. Last week's show we had one of those big giant, I don't know whether you saw it, we had one of those big giant magnets.
Yeah.
And I put it in this stuff and I'm still trying to get the stuff off. But so for instance here, right, is a piece of quartz. Now quartz is naturally fairly white and clear in colour. Like there's a bit of fairly white quartz, right? So when you're looking at stuff that's mineralised, that's a good bit. Like there's a lot of iron in that piece because it's actually rusting. You look at a piece like that, there's actually a lot of iron pyrites in the top there. You probably won't see that. But when you look at it, it's actually quartz below it and lots of iron pyrites in the top. It's just, you can just see it's full of minerals.
Yeah.
And even this stuff, that's
beautiful.
This is, we're not 100% sure what this is. Someone might be able to identify it for us, but it's like a green quartz, like a jasper, like a low quality jasper with like white quartz lumps in it. Like it's an amazing bit of
hell of a bit of metamorphic activity going on there.
Oh, absolutely. And all this is all this has been boiling by the look of it. It's got all the holes.
It's boiled the quartz into bubbles.
Yeah. So it's an amazing bit of. And a lot of this rock's all come from Jericho.
Oh, okay.
So, and then there's a bit of the quartz seam while we got this camera on here.
Yeah,
So,
little stringer.
yeah. Now, this you might not be able to see. So this is a bit of gold. We'll try and get it here. On one side, we've got a bit of quartz. On the other side, we've got a bit of ironstone. So, and you can see that the course is actually, the gold's actually forced up in between those two pieces of rock. And that's a good example of how the gold can form
Yep.
in the country rock, in the host rock. So, yeah.
In those contact zones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so yeah, that's a little bit of interesting stuff there. So, I hope that.
So yeah, but the mineralisation. Well, the one way you quickly determine mineralisation is turn on your metal detector.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it'll tell you real quick how hot the ground is.
Yeah, and when you're ground balancing a VLF machine,
It will give you a number.
yeah, exactly.
So like on any of the Garrett machines, the Gold and the Max, not on a pulse machine like an ATX, but when you ground balance a machine, it'll give you a digital number. Generally, Australian goldfields are in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like when we were in Arizona last month, it was only ground balanced in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it was really quiet ground.
They don't know what
Our
mineralisation
stuff's crazy mineralised.
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's the other point. There's this underlying argument that WA is more mineralised than Victoria, and Victoria is more mineralised. I'll tell you, we've detected all of them, and it comes up about the same
It does.
on a lot of the machines.
And the variation.
Yeah.
I've been to places in WA where it's really highly mineralised, but it's consistent, and that's the critical thing.
Yep.
Because if it's not varying much, your ground balance isn't changing.
Yep.
And if you can ground balance to the mineralisation, you're away.
Yep.
Even places like southeast Queensland here, and North Queensland's the same. Areas around Bendigo particularly, and even Ballarat, out at Beaufort there, I was out there.
Yeah.
Mineralisation varies so quickly.
Yeah.
So your ground balance changes so much. And even though the mineralisation per se isn't that high, when you've got a super cold spot and a super hot spot next to each other, detect the signals on it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's where those signals, you get those false signals.
Yeah.
That's where we always talk about going both directions. So if you're swinging across that way and you're getting a target, you come back this way and it's not there.
It's not
normally
repeatable.
that's really...
It's not a target.
It's not a target, it's ground mineralisation.
Yeah.
So
what you were looking at that diagram there, you're talking about how to read a stream bed.
well, we can get into how to read a stream bed now.
If you're looking at for panning with the kids or something, or even looking for little nuggets or crevicing.
I've got a number of these pictures here, right? So let's get rid of us. We are the least important part of this show.
Oh, geez.
That's a bit harsh,
Yeah, it is a bit harsh.
Yeah. So anyway.
We'll just keep quiet.
Yeah, well, no, that might...
We'll let the picture take...
Yeah. So what you've got there in A in the arrow, is a riffle running across the creek. Now, that riffle will catch gold in there, right? This is a fantastic bit of creek. There's so much going on in this creek.
Yeah, it's a nice good shot.
So that's the so the gold will hang up behind any of the other rocks.
The point being that because gold's got such a high specific gravity,
this might show it a little better.
that's better.
Yeah.
It'll drop. Yeah, it'll drop in low pressure zones or behind obstacles.
Yeah. So you see the arrow behind Warren there. That's the direction of the flow. So those rocks that are sitting there at A, the gold will gather behind them because as the water flows down, there's a low pressure zone before those rocks. So it'll actually fall right behind those rocks.
Yep.
So that's what we talk about, low pressure zones. And it's the same with that photo we were looking at there before. That riffle across the creek creates that same low pressure zone.
Yeah. So you'll see a run of gravel wash?
Yep.
Like you don't matter where you live in Australia, it doesn't have to be a goldfield. Go to your local creek and you can see where it's flooded because they all flood at some time.
Yep.
And you can see where there's a run of wash or gravel or sand in the creek. You can read the creek and see, well, A, in flat country, sometimes you don't know which way the creek's even flowing until you look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a good way to learn your low pressure zones because your runs of gravel are behind logs and downstream of boulders and or a road culvert or a bridge pylon or something.
So if you look at B there, you see, and this is the advantage of Google Earth. You can see the rock bottom there with B.
Yeah, you can see the depth of water.
The actual depth of water and what's in the bottom of the creek there. So that's another little fantastic, fantastic little area that you'd look at with a detector, particularly a waterproof detector. Be phenomenal just to get in there with those cracks with this little sniper coil or something like that.
Yep.
Right, so when we talk about, here's an inside bend, Warren, do you want to explain to us about an inside bend?
So the inside bend, in a massive flood, all the particles in the creek are in suspension. Even the fine gold will be bouncing along. Larger gold will be bouncing off the bottom and then bouncing up and be washed along. So will the boulders. When you come to a sharp bend in the river, or any bend in the river, as it goes around the bend, the outside of the bend will be a high pressure zone because that's where the water's flowing the quickest as it's deflected around the country. The inside bend will be low pressure, and that's where it'll drop all the concentrates. So you'll find your runs of heavier gravel, black sand, magnetites and gold will be on that inside bend.
Yep.
Wherever the water slackens or slows, gold will drop out of it straight away. Yep. That's where you're going to have to look. Now you can find those big washes of gravel. May not be gold in them, but that's where you want to start looking. Because if you go to the outside bend in the deep scoured pool,
it's too quick.
It's too quick, and there won't be anyway. You've got to work it for a start, but very unlikely to get any gold in there.
Yeah, and you see on that picture as you come round the corner of that creek, it's actually dumping all that gravel in that spot A there.
Yeah.
And that's where you'd want to be working, that spot A.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then as another little bit of a side there at spot B, there's a lot of those rocks and causing low pressure zones and riffles across the creek and what have you.
And of course this is how a man-made sluice box works.
Yeah.
You make your own riffles.
Yeah.
You lay the sluice in the creek and you shovel your gravel through it.
See, there's another one at point B.
Geez, that one's really horseshoe bend there.
Yeah. And it's really it's a real defined you know, after the
so
show.
You'd be working a nice place to camp up here on the flat too.
It looks like a lovely little spot.
I'd be parking there and spending a few days.
Yeah.
But
I may never come home.
Yeah, I know.
I do have those bills to pay, but they look after themselves.
They won't find you out there.
No, exactly.
There's no mobile reception.
But look at how big that area C.
I know.
That's an inside bend as well.
I know. You got how many 1,000-tonne washer in there?
Exactly. Yeah, we need a plant.
Yeah, I know. You need a wash plant.
Before you know it, we got blokes on excavators and dozers and ripping the country apart.
That's on a large scale. I'm not sure how big that bend is, like a few hundred metres.
Yeah.
But it works on a small scale. Well, like I'm talking about a metre.
Tiny square. Yeah.
Like a tiny little piece of a creek.
Yeah.
Where your fine gold's concentrating. Yeah. Will be behind obstacles and inside bends. And there's a question here. How do you go about processing the area in the V-shaped valley I was just talking about? In that really steep country, you've got massive water flows. Even though you get all that water flow and all that movement of material, the bottom's not like a bathtub, it's rough. So wherever there's a spot where there's a crack in the bedrock, gold's going to hang there. Even though the water's hammering past at 300 kilometres an hour.
And not only that, the gold, wherever it's coming from, right, doesn't just go, oh, that's all the gold that flood's having.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, so what happens is all the flood comes along, right, and then the floodwaters start to slow, right, at the end of the flood, and the gold drops out. So it's dropping out in those zones, even when the water's flowing much slower.
Especially in those tropical storms, they end very quickly. And in that steep country, it gets away so quick. Like you said, the flood event could be a day or only 3 or 4 hours, and it's gone. And so the gold doesn't, it could be deposited all over the shop.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about fine gold.
Yeah.
Not nuggets, necessarily.
Well,
but then again, we've found nuggets on the banks of creeks and places. Why is this nugget up here? Oh, that's exactly the situation.
It's just got caught.
It gets stuck in a bit of grass, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah. For those that came on late, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. This is Warren from NQ Explorers. Warren's got the greatest YouTube channel on the planet.
NQ Explorers.
Yes. And don't forget to share this tonight to win the Ace 200i. You have exactly half an hour left to share it to get your entries in. We may wrap it on a little bit longer than that, but you have got half an hour.
We've got plenty of questions, but
we've got a million questions. And thank you very much for your support and coming along tonight. So,
Craig wants us to explain how do you get gold out of quartz?
Quartz. Well, depends how nice the gold is the real question.
You can cook it or you can acid wash it.
Acid wash it or you can smash it. So
yeah, smash it.
They're the three.
Dolly pot.
Yeah, so now there's a much more commercial version of this where there's a lot of arsenic washes and all this sort of stuff. We won't get into that. So the first thing I would say, if it's a good looking piece of
with some nice specimen gold in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't do anything
to it.
Take it to a gold buyer.
Like this piece we showed before.
Yeah. Like, take it to a gold buyer, he'll know how much, he'll be able to work out exactly how much gold's in it. Yeah. And if you want to sell it, right? Yeah. The other thing you can do is you take it and you drop it in acid, right? Yeah. And what the acid does, it eats the rock and leaves the gold, right? And you can see there's some really nice specimens that they do that with, and it's phenomenal. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The downside of it is that acid is not very good for you.
No.
Apparently,
not in the shed.
A drop of it will knock you over.
Sulfuric acid, I think you used.
No, it's some other.
Oh. Anyway, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You don't want to be doing it at home with the kids.
No, exactly.
Not in the kitchen anyway.
No.
But the thing is, and then if you just got a dirty, crappy old piece of quartz with fine gold all through it, just dolly pot it up.
Yeah, smash it up.
Just crush it up.
Smash it up as fine as you can get it, and then pan it off. Yeah.
Like the old fellas used to use mercury to pick it up.
Yeah.
But mercury's another nasty.
Yeah, you don't really want too much mercury.
No.
I mean, it's not something you
Mick
drink.
Wants to know if meteors are magnetic. Now, meteors you can find with a metal detector because they're metal.
Yep.
It's space metal.
Space metal.
Yeah.
There's the technical term for tonight.
Now, the magnetic part...
a meteor is space metal.
It's space metal. This is the Mars I'm talking. It's coming from Mars.
We're having a very outer space night.
Yeah, it's a planetary show.
Planetary show tonight.
I'll have to check on that because I've found meteors and I can't remember if that's what you test them, if they're magnetic or not. I can't remember.
Yeah, I would be surprised if all of them are magnetic. We're not meteor experts.
If they're ferrous, they'll be magnetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're non-ferrous, well, they won't be. Like gold you can't pick up gold with a magnet, obviously. It's not a ferrous metal.
Yes. See, two great tips in one.
That's right. Don't go magnet fishing for gold.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll look into that, Mick, and I'll respond on the comments.
Cole wants to know where the creek is you're showing.
That creek is on private property. There are a couple of roads crossing it. So I don't know whether they're farm roads or what, so you got to be a bit careful. But that is actually from Jurakai State Forest. That's a creek that runs from Jurakai State Forest into
it's a good looking bit of country, isn't it?
Leslie Dam.
Okay.
So it's gold bearing. It's
so it's draining Jurakai.
Yeah, it's draining Jurakai.
Oh, well, it'd definitely be gold in there.
Yeah.
There'd be 100 people out there tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I almost didn't say where it was, but
no. Look, you can go to just about every creek in Eastern Australia if you want a pan gold.
Funny story, next to the shop here at Browns Plains, there is seriously a drain, right? Now, it wasn't a drain back at, 50 years ago, it was a creek, but it's actually a drain now. You can go down to the rock bar down here and get some colour out of it. There's colour everywhere. So.
Okay, here's a good question here from Nick. Is the black sand mainly near rock gaps near the banks? Black sand is it's a heavy like gold. It'll concentrate where the gold's going to concentrate.
It's heavy.
Low pressure zones.
Yeah.
If you're panning and you're getting a lot of or rocker boxing or sluicing or high bank and get a lot of black sand, you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
Because you want to be seeing black. Well, some country hasn't got the black sand.
Yeah.
But those magnetic minerals, you want to be seeing those.
Yep.
Now, yes, it will concentrate in rock crevices. It'll concentrate in runs of wash on inside bends and low pressure zones.
Yep.
Where all the gold's going to be.
Yep.
Because how many pans of gold you done when it's just a lot of black sand and a couple of flakes of gold?
Exactly. Yeah. And two things. I watched a video through the week about a guy magnet fishing for black sand that picked up the gold flakes.
Yeah.
Craig that was on last week.
He said that.
He shared it.
Of course, you get to a point where the gold's to drop out of it.
Because
it's not magnetic.
Exactly. But
if it's like it's not
gathered up.
Yeah, it's going to pick up the fine gold.
Yeah.
Because it's stuck in all a magnetic ball.
Yeah.
Like that thing you had.
Yeah.
That'd tear the bonnet off a Land Cruiser.
Yeah. We've got one.
Don't get that out. I don't want that around me. Something will just get destroyed.
Yes.
We're stuck to something.
Yes. Absolutely. So, right, I sort of feel like we got distracted. What were we talking about?
I don't know, what are we talking about?
We-
Where to find gold.
Where to find gold?
We were reading that stream there.
Yep. So that's the stream that we've sort of done. We've done the mineralisation of the country.
You were down to talk about contact zones and runs of country where you got
Yes. Let's talk
visible.
about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the other thing, and the old timers were probably 1,000 times better than anyone is today at reading country. Just purely sitting there and going, right, there's gold over there. And they did it. They really did it by eye and a lot of experience, and they had a lot of time.
Yeah.
So they were actually where we go to. So right, we'll go prospecting in Warwick. Right, we drive out there to 100 k's an hour in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
They were, you know, at the turn of the century, they're in a wheelbarrow with a spade.
It's
Right?
taken them 2 weeks to get there. They're not going to go home that afternoon.
But in that 2 weeks, right, they've walked across a lot of country, and they've stopped and they've got their pick out and they've knocked the top off a rock somewhere, and they were prospecting every time they were moving.
Yeah.
Right. So they got to learn the country intimately. So what a lot of the old timers, what my grandfather used to always look at was he used to look at the base of the trees, right? And as the tree grew up, it would pull the rock or the gravel out, and it would show you what's underneath the ground there. Because as it grew up, it pushes the gravel out. So he would walk through the bush and go, oh, you know, this isn't a bad spot. They talk about, with trees, they talk about the change in colour of the same tree. So you might have a scribbly gum, right? And you might have 3 of them in a row that are pale, and then
one's bright red.
One's red because it's picking up the different mineralisation in the soil.
Well, that's a good thing. Is like your grandfather's. Like when you're out in the bush and you see a trees like those big widow makers come down, and there's a great big hole where the tree root systems. You can see how deep the ground is, and how much wash you got or what's in the ground.
Exactly.
It's a good indicator.
Yeah. And then the other thing is the contact zones or joins in the country. So what happens is the country's shifted over. Well, actually, we probably should step back in that most of this gold's formed 1 million years ago, or a long time ago. Billion years ago. Yeah. So over that time, the tectonic plates have shifted and folded, and it's weathered. So what was a mountain before is now a valley, and vice versa. So the country's all changed. So what I look at a lot is those contact zones where there's 2 different coloured bits of ground meet, or you'll see a definite ridge for some reason that's pushed up, like there's a cliff, right? And why is that cliff there when there's the country's different, the plants are different, everything's different. So,
well, a good example of what you're talking about is like Palmer River. The world's greatest alluvial gold rush. 1872. The Palmer River. I think it's, I could be wrong, but the fault line, I think it's the Palmerville Fault. The gold in that river just suddenly starts. There's no source for it. It's never been found. There are a couple of hard rock mines down around Maytown, like Queen of the North and that kind of thing, where there was quartz reefs. But at a point above Byerstown, the gold just stops, and there's nothing more. So that fault line, so either that gold is 3 kilometres underground now, or it's faulted and turned over, like you said, and flopped and gone back out to the ocean, or it was a mountain range that was 10 kilometres high and it's all gone. But where that fault line's come through, that country line, is a sudden distinct start of the goldfields. There's nothing on, like you can actually stand on the line, there's no gold there and there's gold there. So because Australia is so old, all the rules of gold deposition apply, but if the gold was deposited 70,000 years ago, what's happened since? There's been a couple of eruptions and there's earthquakes and
ice.
Everything's been flipped and ice. And everything's upside down. So that's like Victoria, all those deep leads around Ballarat, like the old river systems are 1,000 metres underground. They're still getting nuggets like this. But that's where the river was 100,000 years ago. So of course Australia's so old. I mean, I'm making this up, but I imagine like a country like New Zealand, which is such a new country,
geologically, we don't want to offend them.
No, I don't want to offend the Kiwis that are watching. The gold there hasn't been flipped and flopped too much.
No.
It's just come from its source and it's run down the creek.
Yeah.
That's pretty much sums up the whole New Zealand situation. I think.
And there's a lot of gold.
There's a lot of gold in New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
South Island.
Yeah.
But Australia's been, and it's such a massive country,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah.
It's just been torn and tortured. And you go out to some of these gold, like especially in the highly mineralised areas, and look at the rock. It's just twisted and tortured and melted. It's been through hell.
Yeah. It's incredible to think when you try and sit there and work out the country, and it's just all over the shop, and you think, oh my God, how do you ever read this?
Yeah.
So
actually, it's interesting. I think might have told you the story before, but my mate Grecky there down in New South Wales, you're talking about your grandfather and reading country. Yeah. The interesting thing about Australian prospectors is the First World War, because the gold rushes in the 1850s and 1860s, 1870s, the last ones in the 1890s in WA.
Yeah.
We call those blokes the old timers.
Yeah.
And they had sons that were taught the art of prospecting and how to read that country.
Yeah.
And they knew where their old man's mine was and where he was getting all his gold.
Yeah.
And then the First World War came.
Yeah.
And they all went to the war, and they either got killed or they didn't come back to mining.
Yeah.
So there's a massive, there's a sudden drop in the knowledge base right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So after the First World War, we lost so much knowledge from the old timers.
Yeah.
From the original prospectors in the 1850s, 60s, 70s.
Who knew the country.
They knew the country, they could read it.
Like,
I mean, you've been to goldfields all over Australia.
Yeah.
You think, how did these blokes find this place?
Yeah.
Like it's just in the absolute middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, they're paying a bit of colour, but why did they wander 6 weeks on the back of a camel or whatever?
Yeah.
And suddenly get off with my pan, I'll check this creek.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just so many died out there.
Bizarre.
Looking.
Yeah.
But the skills are gone.
Yeah.
And the First World War killed the skills off.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a bit of a renaissance in the Depression.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about how the Queensland government would give you a wheelbarrow and off you go.
Yeah.
Because they hoped you'd find a goldfield for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But by the 1930s, the prospectors had lost the skill.
Yeah.
Look, there'd be a couple of old timers still living out there in shacks.
Oh,
but,
absolutely. But it's just gone. It's one of those, and I suppose it's the same with a lot of those old industries, like blacksmithing and that sort of thing. Like it's not passed on.
Wheelwrights and stuff. Yeah,
it's not passed on anymore.
It's not.
We lose a lot of that stuff.
It was a profession that has been lost. And can you imagine if you had the skills of reading country of an old timer and a modern metal detector?
Oh, you just clean up.
Because I mean, you can educate yourself as much as you like, and you can have a better luck. But Andy
said we hit 307 live views at one point there.
307.
That's fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us up to date.
That's like a world record.
That is for us. It is.
It is a world record.
Yeah. So thanks very much for that. So
Anthony wants to know, can we hunt in a state forest?
Well, depends where you are.
State
Anthony. In New South Wales, when you can get a fossicking permit that allows you to fossick in. Allows you to fossick in the state forest.
Yeah.
You have to put it on the back of the permit that you want to fossick in the state forest. Queensland, it's virtually no.
Except for the designated
fossicking areas. Yeah. And good news on that too, the Claremont fossicking area is now
tax-free.
Tax-free. No need to buy a Claremont.
You've got a licence, but you don't need a Claremont pack.
Claremont pack. So you still need a fossicking licence, but previously you need a fossicking permit.
And the council Claremont pack.
And the Claremont pack.
And Victoria's you're good in your state forest.
Yep. So it varies from state to state. Yeah. South Australia, there's not a lot of gold in South Australia.
No, there's not only some small areas of South Australia, which are designated. There's some designated fossicking areas actually.
Yep.
Same with the Territory.
Yep.
Do we have to be here for the giveaway?
Oh, it's only 15 minutes away. Ideally, yes, but
we wanted you to throw your hands up in the air.
Yeah,
and yell.
Exactly. So, so just hang out for 15 minutes. Who was that? Chelsea. That's right. I saw you there, Chelsea. So it's only 15 minutes. Just hang out. So So okay. There's a question here that's come up that finding, and I get this question every 2 or 3 weeks.
I didn't know about this thing.
Did you?
Yeah, no.
Oh, well, I actually did some research last Tuesday because I had the question last week. So Sasha asked a question about the guys that found the gold nuggets on the beach. And the gold nuggets they would be ounce pieces of gold, right? They were big gold nuggets. Now...
On the Gold Coast beach?
On the Gold Coast beach.
Okay.
Now...
The first thing you've got to say is that's not naturally there.
Well...
Okay, you're not going to say that.
Right. So there's a number of theories, right?
Okay.
Someone's dropped it.
Yep.
Right? Happy days.
Some crazy tourist got drunk.
It's
always gold.
Yeah. The other thing, and I don't like to say this about gold, people who find gold, is it could be just absolute rubbish. They could be just making it up for a bit of headlines.
The thing is about the Gold Coast beaches, how many times have they been washed away?
Exactly.
And they've been brought in from Hawaii. They were pumping freaking sand from all around the world.
Exactly.
None of that sand is natural. There's no way in the world, I shouldn't say this with such certainty, but there's no way in the world that gold nuggets could be found in salty sand on a beach that's been so heavily replenished. Where did they, you know what I mean?
Well...
Like if they're alluvial nuggets.
Yeah, and they look washed.
Unless they've come out of Currumbin Creek and...
Well, they used to run there used to be, at the turn of the century, used to be a dredge that worked under the Sundale Bridge in the Gold Coast.
Right.
That's just at the Broadwater there.
A gold dredge?
A gold dredge.
Okay. Yeah, but how'd they find this gold with a metal detector?
Yes.
Hang up, how deep's the sand on the Gold Coast?
Oh, very deep. But the theory was it was close to a rock wall.
Okay.
And the rock wall had quartz veins in the rock.
Oh. So the rock wall's been quarried and brought in. To make the groins that stick out. Yeah.
So...
so someone's dug up a gold mine and dumped it on a gold...
Well, you know...
I don't know.
I think the...
I don't like to be sceptical.
No, I don't like to be sceptical either. But yeah, I think it's rubbish.
What I will say is no prospector ever tells you where he finds his gold.
No.
Ever.
No. And a bloke went off at me this afternoon in the shop. I had a mate in, we were discussing an area we were going to go to, right? He said, "Oh, where are you talking about?" "Oh, out towards Warwick there." No, I'm looking for some gold. Can you tell me exactly where? I was like, "Nah."
Yeah, I know.
Go and do your own homework.
I've met those blokes.
Yeah, and like I'm as helpful as what have you. I give you my waypoints if you buy a machine, you know, like so. But this bloke was...
Richard wants to know, how do you sell your gold?
Commercial gold buyers, don't take it to the jewellery shops, don't take it to the people who say, we buy gold.
No, there's plenty of commercial gold buyers, because they've got to assay your gold.
Yeah, you got to do it properly.
It's got to be properly assayed.
Yeah.
And you'll find that the assays vary from field to field.
Yes.
Some stuff can assay at 92% pure, some can be horrendously
80s.
low.
Yeah.
But high silver content, high copper content.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might think you've got a great nugget, but actually it's 30% copper.
Yep. Yeah, Benny says the bloke that down the coast there reckons it came out of the quartz veins in the rock.
In the groin.
In the groin.
Well, I think we should load those groins back up onto a truck and crush them.
Like, the problem with that theory is,
but if
he shows the gold, right, and it's water-worn gold.
Yeah, if it came out of a quartz rock, it'd be a specimen. Or to be stuck to quartz.
Absolutely.
What you're talking about is a rounded, water-worn alluvial nugget.
Exactly.
That didn't come out of a rock.
No.
Not recently.
No. And he's saying, it's been there a long time on the sand. Well, if it was a long time on the sand, it'd be 30 feet deep.
You wouldn't find it if it was a long time on the sand.
So,
anyway.
I still call BS. Not wanting to be controversial or anything like that. But
look, but then again, it beggars belief, but you know what gold's like, it can turn up anyway.
It can turn up anyway, yeah.
They've just gone to bet both ways there.
Yeah. Fence sitting.
Lisa wants to know, where do you find where's the gold buyers?
Gold buyers. So in Brisbane, look at this comment. Benny Reid, 400 metres from the Puddler, 2 grammer.
Oh, that's nice.
From the Puddler. That's awesome.
Yeah, but like I just said, the prospectors never tell you where they find the gold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So where do you find gold buyers? Sorry, Lisa, I got all excited there. So where do you find gold buyers? You're best to talk to someone who doesn't buy gold, who knows what they're talking about. So for instance, if you're looking for a place in Brisbane, come and talk to me or someone who... I don't buy gold, right? I might buy a couple of specimen pieces, but I don't buy gold in big quantities. And go to the other prospecting shops, as long as they don't buy gold, and say, right, who's the best bloke to sell gold to? They will send you to a commercial gold buyer right?
Well, the first thing is you've got to determine how much gold you've got.
Yeah,
Now, if it's a specimen in quartz, you've got to get it, weigh it in water so you get a specific gravity.
Yep.
Then you know how much gold you've got.
Yep.
Because it might be, even though your quartz and gold specimen weighs 2 ounces, it might only be half an ounce of gold in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you want to know that before you take it to a gold buyer.
Yeah,
he'll do an SG test anyway.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you approach the gold buyer, and say, I don't want to sell this, right? I just want to know how much it's worth, right? So I can insure it, right? The gold buyer might charge you $10 or $15 to do the test on it, but you sort of get a guaranteed, unbiased approach to it, and then you can sell to the low note because you know what it's worth. So
there's plenty of reputable gold buyers out there.
There is,
but don't go.
There's a lot of not reputable gold buyers.
Yeah, of course.
Either,
And it's been like that for thousands of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Bradley suggested from the Pirates of the Caribbean filming.
What, those nuggets?
Yeah, that's probably true. Could have come off a galleon or something.
Yeah.
So they're not. Well, they're just lead painted yellow. Will someone verify that these are actually gold nuggets?
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
That's
a great story. It's the kind of thing that keeps people wanting to go out metal detecting. It's great.
Yeah. Andy asked a really good question here, right? What's your thought on pay dirt? Like buying pay dirt?
Buying pay dirt. I've been given pay dirt. There's a couple of mines up north that do sell pay dirt as a commercial. You can buy a bag of pay dirt for $50, I think.
Yep.
It's like a coffee container.
Yep.
They generally guarantee you got a gram in there or something.
Yeah.
Basically, you're paying for a gram of gold, and that's what you buy.
Yeah. So most of the pay dirt, like
there'd be a panful. You wouldn't unless you're buying buckets of it.
Yeah, and
go and get your own.
Like these blokes aren't stupid, right?
No, they're not going to give you the hotspot.
If there was 200 grams in a bucket,
you're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it. You're going to
generally the pay dirt sales will be wash that they seed with a bit of gold.
Yep.
So that you get your money's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just for a bit of fun panning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is a lot of fun.
And normally you get
pieces.
What I tend to find is you get, you buy a $50 packet, you get a $40.
Yeah.
$40 worth of gold out of it.
I've got a $50 bag of pay dirt at home. I should bring it in next week and we'll pan it. See what's in it.
Yeah.
I haven't even opened it.
Oh, haven't you? Yeah.
I've had it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So much gold I got. I don't have to, you know what I mean. I don't worry about it
anymore. Yeah, don't worry about it anymore. Yeah. Fantastic. So,
okay, Carmen wants to know what's the difference. This is a good question. What's the difference between real gold and fool's gold?
Do you want to handle that, or you want me?
Okay, fool's gold is pyrites. The best answer to that, Carmen, is if you've ever seen real gold in a gold pan, you'll never mistake it for anything else. Because if you're looking at it, if you're doubting what you're seeing, it's not gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because gold is just so obviously gold.
Yep.
Pyrites is, it won't sit in the bottom of the pan, it's flaky and it's platy.
Yep.
So it's very shiny, but it flips and it flops when you're swirling your pan.
And normally square edges.
It's square,
it's
linear,
flat.
Whereas gold is just beautiful. You will not mistake a piece of gold.
I don't know. Let me just see if I can do this here. Because there's some iron pyrites in one of those pieces there.
Okay, so here's a question from someone. Is gold shiny or dull? It can be both.
So, I don't know whether, let's see if we can get a focus on here.
Pyrites?
Yeah,
it's falling apart.
It is falling apart. There's just some iron pyrites in here. I don't know whether you can see it there, but it's actually, you can see how it's shiny, right?
Yep.
As opposed to...
It's like platy and flaky.
Yeah. As opposed to... There's the gold.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that camera's focusing on that.
See, the question about if it's shiny or dull, if you're panning for alluvial gold, it'll be shiny because it's been washed in the creek and it's been pulverised.
Yep.
Like I said, when you see a piece of gold in your pan, you'll have no doubt in your mind that you've got a piece of gold.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're doubtful, I wonder if that's gold, it's not gold.
Yeah.
It'll be pyrites.
Yeah, exactly.
Because gold is just unmistakably, it looks like your wedding ring.
Yeah. Did that show up, the iron pyrites versus the gold? Yeah. Let me know about that. So...
but yeah, that's a good question about the fool's gold.
Yeah.
But fool's gold will wash out of your pan anyway, it's light.
Yeah. If you're detecting and you pick up a piece, right, normally the detector won't hear iron pyrites.
No.
But normally what happens is you're walking by a creek and go, oh, there's a shiny
rock.
Yeah, shiny rock. And then you'll take someone like me and go, no.
Yeah.
You'll get all excited because it's,
Yeah.
you know, this big.
Yeah, I know.
And then-
it looks fantastic.
And you bring it to me and I go,
But
yeah.
then you look at a real piece of gold and it just
It's
looks nothing like
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But because gold varies with its purity, if it's got copper in it, it's going to be red, that's rose gold. If
Yep.
it's got silver in it, it'll be a pale
Yep,
yellow, which is white gold.
yep, yep.
Some gold is even black.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks
like,
horrible.
Like that stuff up at
Claremont.
Claremont.
It's
Some
just
of
covered in
black.
iron, it looks horrendous.
Yeah, it's covered in this.
Yeah.
Like this ironstone
And
stuff.
that'll go off in the detector and you throw, oh, it's a hot rock, but
Hot
no,
rock.
if it's
gold.
gold.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. So that varies. That's another example of where you'd look at talking to a local.
yeah, exactly.
Because that's how I know, you know, you could come home with to your caravan park with a lump of this stuff
Yep,
and you could have gold nuggets.
yeah, exactly.
And you think
yeah.
you've got ironstone.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. So, right. So, so we've sort of covered the where
To look.
to look.
But what about, we didn't look at things like, what about where to detect for gold other than in a creek? Like I'm talking about on a hill slope where you get a change in the slope and there's a sudden,
Yeah.
you know, where a steep slope suddenly flattens out. Collects gold,
Collects
even though
gold.
there's no water. Well, there is water involved, but
Yep.
it's not in a creek. It's on the hill slope. If you're reef shedding,
Yep.
look for changes in the gradient.
Yep. Yep.
Because if it shallows out, then the gold's not travelling with the soil. It'll
Yep.
stop.
Yep.
Because
and
there's
I
not enough
haven't
slope
got
to
a
move it.
image on that, but if you've got a steep area, then a bit that flattens out,
Yeah.
then a steep area, a bit that flattens out, long flat bit,
Yeah.
and then into the creek. So the long flat bit at the bottom, it'll be right at the bottom of that.
Yep.
It'll be right at the bottom
In the
of
toe
that
of the
toe
yeah.
of the curve, sort of thing.
That's where you detect.
Detect, and same on that one that's halfway up the
That's
creek.
right. All
It'll
those
be-
little benches are like
Yeah.
riffles on the hillside.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it
And-
might take the gold 500,000 years to get to the creek.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Unless you pick it up on the way down,
Yeah.
which is the purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a,
But we found gold. Colleen's found gold on top of a hill.
yes,
You know.
yeah,
So it just depends how things weather and how it erodes.
Yeah.
And it might be such that it was a big round flat hill, so there wasn't enough slope there for the gold to move at all.
exactly, yeah.
Just
yeah.
sat there,
Yeah, exactly.
waiting for the country rock to weather down, and then the little nugget gets exposed.
Yep. So, just as a bit of an update,
Yep.
for those that are joining late, Ben from Gold Diggers, Warren from NQ Explorers, you've got precisely 3 minutes to share this post to have the opportunity to win Garrett Ace 200. We're giving it away tonight. Did I almost hit you in the head then?
No.
No. I'll try
Wouldn't
harder next time.
Yeah.
But Ace 200, we got a new one sitting down here, and it will go out in the post tomorrow to whoever the randomiser. I've named my random picker.
Oh,
It's
the
the
randomiser.
randomiser.
It's a big machine, steam-driven machine.
Steamed,
Look at it,
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Got to crank it up.
Yes. So anyway, yeah. So we've got
When's the randomiser kicking in?
2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes. So you've got 2 minutes to share
Okay,
it.
here's Lynn's question about Claremont, which we were talking about then. This black ironstone, how do you know if it's gold or it's a hot rock? Smash it up
Scratch it. Yeah.
and scratch it, smash it up.
Yeah.
And dolly pot, if you've got to get a dolly pot,
Yep.
you can make a dolly pot yourself actually out of an old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bit of an iron tube or
CC picks make a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just basically,
Just crush it up. As soon as you see a bit of yellow colour in it,
yeah, smash it. Yeah. Hit it with a hammer.
yeah.
And try and contain
The
it.
thing
Don't
about
just-
hot rocks though, I notice particularly from a VLF machine point of view,
Yep.
the audio to me always sounds different on a hot rock.
Yep.
It always sounds like a boing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just. It's even though it's a repeatable signal, it's more rounded than a sharp, repeatable gold target,
Yeah, it is.
which
yeah,
is a
yeah.
distinct blip. But
Yeah.
you can always tell a hot rock seem to have a boing or a rounded audio tone to them. That's just
Yeah.
something I've.
Yeah, yeah. You can, when you get good at it, particularly when you get
You know, you've done a lot of hours on your particular machine.
particular machine,
Yeah.
you can sort of tell. You know, some you'll investigate and you'll go, wonder what this is, wonder what that is, sort of thing. So,
Still
but,
put it in your pocket
yeah.
if you've got any doubt.
okay, the time, it is now gone 8:30 by my little clock.
Randomiser's about.
Randomiser, let me just run this randomiser. I'm looking for a Carmel Davis.
Ooh.
Carmel Davis. Is there a Carmel Davis in the house? If you're not in the house, we'll have to go to someone else in the next couple of minutes.
So Carmel's got a reply, has she?
Oh, well, yes, she does. We made, was it Chelsea? Stay?
Yeah, that's
until
right.
the
Chelsea's
end?
hanging on.
Yeah, so we're looking for a...
It's not over yet, Chelsea. Carmel hasn't
yes,
shown up.
you have 1 minute Carmel Davis. So, yes. So, shared a bunch.
Was Carmel turned up? Carmel's there.
Carmel's there. Beautiful. Carmel, congratulations, Carmel. You've won
200i metal detector.
Ace 200i. So we'll send that out to you. Well, I'll send that out to you tomorrow. But congratulations. So there's the prize draw. Well done, Carmel.
And thanks everyone for watching.
Absolutely. And then next week we're going to do more on how to do it. How to detect?
Metal detecting,
panning,
sluicing, high banking, divining.
Divining, our divining expert, a guru.
Well, if you can't afford a metal detector, just get 2 bits of 8 gauge.
Yeah,
You're away.
Exactly.
You're away.
And next week's giveaway will be, we haven't quite decided what the giveaway will be yet, but we may even see if we can swing another machine.
Ooh.
So it may be another machine. We might even do a different brand next week, just to mix it up a little bit. But yes, so stay tuned for next week's show. But have you got 5 minutes? We might answer a few more questions.
Yeah, we'll do some more questions.
Yeah. So there's the draw. Congratulations, Carmel. Right, hit us with some questions, guys.
If you want us to hang around, we'll answer some questions.
Yep.
Let's go through these that we haven't missed any.
Yep.
Oh,
there's a relic question.
Question. We'll answer this.
Yep.
Chris, what's the best place to go around Brisbane for relics? My husband bought an Ace 200i. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, it depends. Look, Brisbane's rich with history.
Yep.
All the parks, as long as you're not making a mess. Lots of military stuff, and there's lots of bushland around Brisbane where there's been military activity.
Oz at War.
Have a look at Peter Dunn's site, Oz at War.
It's a fantastic site just to go and have a look and see what the and see what
where they camps, and doesn't mean to say they're accessible. They could be private property.
Yeah, exactly.
But just check on that.
Research.
But a lot of it's just in forest areas around Brisbane. It's just where there's bush tracks or there's bushwalks.
And a lot of it's thinking about how was it used?
Yeah.
100 years ago.
That's true.
And where do people go for a swim 100 years ago?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Well, I've been detecting on places where an old house gets knocked down from the 1950s, and someone says, "Oh, what do you bother with that for? You're just going to find coins from the night." No, I'm not. I'm thinking about what was there in 1850.
Yeah.
Because there's so many layers of civilization, particularly in the older areas of Australia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just because they knocked down a house that was built 10 years ago, what about the house that was there 150, 180 years ago?
Exactly. Yeah.
The relics are still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, the sky's the limit with relics. It's not like gold. And
I don't do a hell of a lot of relics, but it's interesting to go down like the depths. You actually see the layering.
You can see the layers. It's fascinating. Colleen and I are doing an old homestead at the moment. It's got some modern deposition on top, and like you said, you get down about 100 mil, and there's an old topsoil layer. It's distinct black topsoil from the old farm, and that's where the old coins and relics are.
Yeah.
In that, as soon as you hit the black stuff, there's a bit of ceramic or old beer bottle.
Yep.
You've got to be low and slow because you've got to get through the tops.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking about what you're finding on the top. You've got to look for what's underneath.
Yeah.
And, in some of the areas of Brisbane are really historic. I mean, can't be heritage listed, but just do a bit of research.
Yeah.
Go into public areas where you're not going to make a big mess.
Yeah, exactly.
If you are going to go into a park, make sure you've got the right tools. You've got a proper edge digger or a plug cutter.
Yeah, you want to be able to...
And don't do it when it's dry or sandy, or do it now because it's been raining a lot.
Exactly.
Where it's nice and moist, you get good depth in your detector.
Yep.
And you can dig a plug that won't kill the grass.
Holds together,
it'll hold together.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you dig your plug accurately, generally you flip the plug and the coin, or whatever it is, will be sitting on the bottom. You just pick it and flip it back, pat it back down. Use an old rag to flip your scraps onto, so you're not making a mess on the grass.
Yep. And no one will know you're there.
No one will know you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
So Brisbane, well, look, it's just about, you can go anywhere in Australia and find historic relics.
And heaps of them.
Heaps of them.
WA, no one does it.
I know.
Relics over in WA,
It's
all
the
gold.
last great frontier.
Yeah.
I want to go over there and just look for relics because it's just crazy. The amount of
yeah.
relics. Because you think about how many people were involved in the gold rush.
Yep.
They all dropped stuff.
Yep.
Chris wants advice for a new starter on gold or on gold prospecting or a new chum.
Well,
what do you do first, Ben?
Well,
and do you need a license? John wants to know.
Okay, so let's talk about licenses because we should cover that fairly quickly.
And Peter's asked the same question.
Yeah, okay. So
you need a license.
Yeah. So you need a license for both, for every state basically.
Except South Australia.
Except South Australia. And it's a fossicking license, a miner's right in WA, it's a...
Miner's right in Victoria.
Victoria, yeah. So they call them different things. But talk to the State Mines Department. They will give you the... They will give you the lowdown on how to.
You should be able to get them online in most states.
Oh yeah, online in most states.
It's like fishing licences. You can't. A Queensland fossicking licence doesn't work in New South Wales. You get pinged.
Exactly. So you need to have it.
You have to have it.
Yeah.
It's just a tax.
Now that's fossicking, right?
Yeah, right.
So you need it for fossicking. Do you need it to go down the beach and find a couple of coins or relics?
You don't need it for looking for relics in the park. You don't need it for relics in the bush or on the beach.
Yep.
It's only for precious metals and gemstones.
Yep. So back to Chris. Chris's what advice for starting off. Now, I would stick to a good quality brand of metal detector. If you're going to buy a metal detector, stick to a good quality brand.
Do a lot of research.
Yeah. Simply because the good quality brands, if 2 years down the track you're not using it, they've got reasonable resale value on them. So that's a good way to start. So that's one thing for to start with. But if you're looking for gold, I would start with a pan.
A good Garrett can, a good quality pan.
And a Garrett's
pan
the best. Yeah.
I don't say that because I use them, but they are the best. That's
phenomenal.
why I use them.
Yeah.
You don't have to know anything about gold panning to be successful with a Garrett gold pan.
Exactly.
You'll be getting your black sands, you'll be getting your fines. Look in those areas we were talking about earlier there, your inside bands, your low pressure zones. Sample your gravel. Have a bit of patience with it.
Yeah.
Work a bit of gravel and don't expect to get a speck in your first pan. You probably will, but if you go to the right place, put a good bucket of gravel through it.
Yep.
And once you start getting a few flakes, and you'll recognize, and there's the other thing is too about collecting wash. Try to remember where you got your wash from.
Absolutely.
Don't run like a mad rabbit digging 4 or 5 holes and put them all in the same plasters bucket.
Yeah.
Because when you get the gold in the pan, you don't know which hole it came out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the trick with it, is that if you're going out, a lot of people go out and grab 6 buckets of wash.
Yeah.
Don't mix the wash.
No, don't mix it together.
Like if you go into 5
catalogue where you've got it from.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get home, you forget. Yeah. One bucket's got an ounce in it.
It'd be like Lassiter's Reef. You'd never find it again.
You'd never find it again.
Yeah.
Because you don't know which.
No. That's a really, like, you get all excited on finding gold, but you don't know where you found it. So if you can discipline yourself to pan little areas until you actually get some colour, and then just keep working that spot.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, Chris, just keep to your principles of where gold's deposited.
Yeah. You can't go too far wrong with that. So, so I like the idea of that. I also like the idea of if you're starting off with relics, you can buy a little cheap machine and get going quite comfortably.
The thing about with detecting, like you said, stick with the known brands because they are actually better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's a reason.
But there's a reason they're known brands. But get to know your machine. Like I always say, metal detecting is 90% operator.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
And attitude. Right? If you go out...
Yeah, you're tired and cranky. Or you've got ridiculous expectations.
I'm going to find...
7 gold sovereigns today.
Or... I'm going to go out here and I'm going to bloody dig nails all day again and not find anything. That's exactly what's going to happen. So I was having a conversation with a very, very experienced detectorist the other day, and he does a lot of relics, he does a lot of gold, right? He said to me, and it stuck with me, he said to me, I do my research, right? And I know I'm going to a 1920, a house that's been 1920s to 1950s, right? I know I'm going to find pre-decimal coins, and I'm going out today to find pre-decimal coins.
Yeah.
And that's how he has success.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Because he goes out because he's going out to find pre-decimal coins.
Yeah.
Right? And he has good, really good success with it, right? And he does the same thing with gold.
Yeah.
He says, right, I'm just going out. This area is known for small gold nuggets. I'm going to go out and find.
Yeah.
I want to find half a dozen 0.1 gram nuggets today.
Yeah.
So that's the. So that's what my suggestion would be. Right frame of mind. Get to know your machine, and I don't care. Like an Ace 200, I copped a bit of stick through the week that people saying, "Oh, you'll never find gold with an Ace 200." Well, it's not
designed to do it.
Not designed to do it, but of course you'll find gold with it. So
if you walk across a 2-ounce piece of gold,
yeah, it'll find it. No trouble at all. Yeah,
even if it's mineralised, it's going to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to scream.
Yeah,
it's going to dance and make you champagne and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
you're not going to miss a piece of gold.
Yes,
because we've found gold with Ace machines.
Yeah. Well, it's a metal detector.
It's a metal detector. So. Gold's metal.
Yes. Righto.
Okay.
So we've gone an hour and 10. Well, we've got an hour and 10. So next week we're going to how to find the gold.
How to find the gold and
not where.
What equipment to use.
Yeah, exactly.
What equipment to use.
Yep.
If you're interested in metal detecting, panning,
divining.
Listen, divining, you're an educated man, so am I. I hear a bloke says, "Oh, I found gold divining." You go, "Oh no, come on, what sort of magic's this?"
But you down the beach, aren't you, finding gold nuggets?
I know you're finding gold nuggets on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
But it actually works. It actually works.
Yeah.
And there's a technique to it.
Yeah.
Which we'll go through next week.
Yeah. So that's next week. So.
So if you're interested, rocker boxes or high bankers or...
we'll go through all of that stuff next week. So, and we'll see what we've got in the prize cupboard for next week. It will probably be a machine, but we'll have to see what we've got.
See what evolves during the week.
Exactly. So, but I'll put a post up the next couple of days with that. I'd like to thank you all very, very much for attending.
Thanks for viewing.
And sharing the post so dramatically. So, thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Night.